celebrate the power of the word, the power of the word, with our next segment, Innovation in Summer Literacy. Let's please give a warm welcome to the one and only Liz McChesney, who leads our Literacy and Libraries PLC. And it's, you can get there. Just go onto our website, check it out if you're interested. Liz is on a mission to make sure that literacy is accessible, joyful, and impactful for every single child on the planet. Liz leads efforts to transform library summer programs into powerful learning experiences that spark both curiosity as well as growth. We're so grateful that you're here with us. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Liz McChesney.
Aw, thank you, Broderick, my friend. You are really the heart and the art of summer learning, and we are all so fortunate to have you in our community. And I'm Liz, Library Liz, Ms. Liz to generations of library-going kids, and I really love the mission and work of NSLA and the way that libraries are positioned to help kids in the summer to love and find book joy every day. We're going to talk about summer literacy innovations in this segment, but first we're going to talk about one of NSLA's own summer literacy innovations, which is the National Summer Book Award. Each year, the Library and Literacy PLC Selection Committee, which is a subset of our PLC, spends part of our summer reading and reading books that are in alignment with NSLA's core values and that really lift up like the joy of summer learning. And also, it's a book that's set in summer. We organized ourselves in a similar way to the American Library Association's Youth Material Awards, like the Caldecott or Newbery. This year, we read, debated, reviewed, tussled over, cried over, and loved 24 different books. And ultimately, we were really honored to select Curveball by Pablo Cartaya and Miguel Diaz Rivas. I have it right here. It was published by Disney Hyperion in 2024. And today we're going to hear a little few remarks from Pablo and Miguel. Miguel lives in Spain, so this was pre-recorded so that he wasn't up in the middle of the night. And they are going to speak to us mostly in Spanish. Pablo said this is the Bad Bunny interview of children's literature. So stay tuned in the chat for some brief translations and join us as we listen in.
Hi, my name is Pablo Cartaya, and I am so happy to be here with my colleague and my collaborator, Miguel Diaz, where we can officially accept this the great award for the NSLA Summer Book of the Year award. I have my award here with me. It is gorgeous. It's beautiful, and I'm just so honored. Again, I had the opportunity to go to the annual conference and to speak. And to talk about like what a great honor it was to receive an award that celebrates all the joy, all the wonderful learning that can happen during the summer. A book like Curveball that I got the privilege to collaborate with Miguel on, and to create this program to create this book that really celebrates what the idea of what it is to play during the summer, what it is to grow during the summer, what it is to learn. And I was just so honored. And I thank all of the committee and the NSLA folks for really the tremendous honor of having this book be awarded the Summer Book of the Year award. Le quiero pasar a mi amigo Miguel, que era una colaboración muy importante para mí porque, o sea, como la manera que hicimos esto fue como si nos hemos conocido todo el tiempo, ¿no es cierto, Miguel? O sea, es algo que yo escribí el guión y Miguel como entendió exactamente lo que iba a hacer con sus dibujos y te quiero dar o sea, un gran abrazo por el tremendo trabajo que hiciste. Miguel, te la paso a ti para hablar y celebrar, o sea, también este gran premio que hemos recibido.
Muchas gracias, Pablo. Joder, qué ilusión. La verdad que sí, desde el principio, cuando leí tu guión, me encantó y yo creo que los dos conectamos muy, muy bien. Y para mí recibir este premio significa mucho porque en realidad Yo la pasión que yo tengo por los cómics nació un poco en verano, porque yo soy de un pueblo pequeño del sur de España y cuando yo era un niño conseguir cómics era muy difícil. Yo la mayoría de los cómics que conseguía eran cuando familiares míos viajaban fuera del pueblo o en los veranos. Una de las cosas que hacíamos todos los veranos cuando nos íbamos de vacaciones, mi familia y yo, era lo primero que hacíamos era parar en una librería y comprar un cómic o dos para el resto del verano. Entonces, para mí, la lectura de verano ha sido siempre muy importante y que nuestro cómic haya ganado un premio y se recomiende para que otros niños consigan esa pasión, ¿no? por los cómics en verano, me parece muy guay y muy bonito.
Sí. Y es una cosa que, como la idea de ganar un premio así que celebra la idea de la importancia de verano.
Sí,
Y como y yo creo que nosotros dos entendimos eso cuando escribiendo el guión y dibujándolo. Y
sí,
o sea, que ganar un premio así, que celebra eso, la belleza del verano y lo que uno aprende, lo que uno crece en el verano, yo creo que es algo que nosotros dos hemos sentido mucho orgullo en recibir, ¿no?
sí, totalmente.
Gracias y felicidades to Pablo and Miguel for their video and congratulations on a beautiful book. Curveball is a story of a little girl who breaks her arm at the start of summer softball season and learns a whole lot about herself. So we're going to switch now, and I would invite our panelists to join. We know that summer literacy works best when it doesn't feel like traditional school. It feels like discovery and identity and joy. Recently, we identified the 3 R's of summer reading on a webinar and in our PLC: relationships, routines, and realistic family support. And we know that while skill building is critical to building a reader, summer is also a time to accelerate the love of reading and book joy. So I'd like to explore how each of you, our panelists, are innovating and keeping that balance, and how you're making reading something kids want to do and not something they're told to do. So I'm joined today by Ileana Pulu from the San Francisco Public Library. She's the Youth Services Manager, which is a title that is much shorter than what her job responsibilities are. And Megan LeFaivre from Book Harvest, who's the Associate Director of Partnerships for School-Age Kids. And Kelly Griffin from First Book, who's the Vice President of Nonprofit Partnerships. So, Ileana, I'd like to start with you and your beautiful program, Summer Stride, your summer program in the library, which reaches so many young people across San Francisco. How are you designing experiences that center joy and choice and participation, especially for kids who may not already see themselves as readers?
Thanks so much, Liz. Yes, what a question. And I think every library lover or even just book lover or just community lover wants to make sure that we can answer it or find the solutions to answering it. So as Liz mentioned, my name is Ileana Pulu, and I am showing up from the West Coast here. I'm honored to be a part of this morning and to share out a little bit more about our Summer Stride. So our Summer Stride, like many libraries throughout the country, is an annual summer learning, reading, and exploration program for all ages and abilities. We really center ourselves on it being high quality for all ages, free of costs. We want to center also youth, teach them about loving the library, loving nature, loving community, loving their parks through expert presenters, STEM workshops, paid teen internships, all the things. So we build summer literacy through relationships. We work closely with our school district, our local school district, and other local schools. And we understand that the strong relationship with local schools is key in maintaining and increasing that literacy over the summer. With the warm handoff that happens after school's out for summer, during the wildness of summer, and then right back in the fall when school year starts again. The library supports our learners by giving free giveaway books to all elementary and middle school teachers, so they have something ready in hand going into the summer. Limited edition book, over 48,000 students with our featured artist, who this year is Nidhi Chanani, who creates those just gorgeous, eye-catching assets. Our librarians from both our public schools and our public libraries, and our school libraries work on a curated recommended reading list where we have graphic novels, books in different languages, nonfiction, fiction, series, anything that they can want and need to have. If they want to read just about sharks, that's what they're going to get. Just sharks. That's totally fine. We want them to be able to read what they want to read because then they are going to want to come back and they're going to want to continue that pursuit. We also build summer literacy through routines. So all of our libraries host regular story times. We want to make sure that there are no barriers to participation. We want to make sure that we're also sharing and celebrating this goal. We have over 28 libraries in San Francisco and our bookmobiles to hit those far to reach hills here. And we have different events, over 1,900 events that get planned that focus on STEM, focus on youth-generated book clubs, intergenerational events, or cultural presentations. We all have something that's called a prize wheel. So folks can come in, spin a wheel, get a high five, a joke, maybe a small little prize, something for them to get every day if they want to come into the library every day. We also host monthly raffles with local partners, San Francisco Giants, local eateries, so people can also extend their visit past the library and get into a museum that may be a cost barrier for them. Those partnerships, along with others that we've started with our Department of Early Childhood and the Dolly Parton Imagination Library, that's a big one over throughout the country, our Exploratorium, our local science museum, who's providing tinkering training to our staff. And finally, with our Parks Conservancy, doing shuttles to local, city, state, and national parks with accessible tours and curated field trips. And finally, we help create and build summer literacy through realistic expectations. And this might be the kicker, because we want to make sure that that program has a variety of options for participation to drive engagement and ensuring that we're a place and space for everybody. So something that happens throughout the year and continues during the summer is supporting the strong literacy work as literacy ambassadors. So staff here are trained to build awareness of the science of reading and library of resources for decodable books that are part of our collection, as well as free tutor training for 1st to 4th graders. None of it's possible without our staff, who we work closely with leadership to acknowledge that staff capacity when setting up our foundational program. Summer starts in September here too. So we are building through making sure that we're acknowledging the inequities in our system and collaborating with partners to make sure that we're delivering a meaningful program. And finally, this year, we're working in, not finally this year, but finally in closing, and excitingly this year, we're working with the Department of Children, Youth, and Families here to highlight during National Summer Learning Week, as well as participating in a citywide day of service, highlighting civic engagement with First Lady of San Francisco, Becca Prouda. So we've learned so much from our colleagues at NSLA, whether it's hearing from after school camps, rec centers, data folks, STEM programmers, or other literacy partners. And this organization has been integral in acknowledging and building those relationships, routines, and realistic expectations. And if I can just say one final thing, I would encourage participants here to listen loudly to what you hear, both internal to your organization and external. You may not think it's relevant at the time that you're hearing something, but it can be in the future in supporting your summer learning, your community, your youth, through the boot camp, the toolkits, the PLCs that connect. So we're so appreciative and honored.
Well, Ileana, thank you so much. I love that. Listen loudly. And we're going to listen loudly next to Megan from Book Harvest. Megan, Book Harvest is known and respected for getting books into the hands of kids who need them the most. What are you learning about book ownership and how it changes a child's and family's relationship to reading over the summer? And in like a snapshot moment, what advice do you have for building relationships with parents and caregivers to support summer literacy?
Thanks for having me here, Liz. And I don't know about everybody else, but now I want to go to San Francisco this summer. But summer is really this huge opportunity for improved relationships to reading because kids read more when reading feels fun. And what doesn't feel more fun during the summer? And so, as we've heard, choice and ownership really bring that motivation and joy that we see in students. And it also opens a world of opportunity for how families can lean into that culture of literacy in their homes. And what I mean by that is just everybody's involved, everybody's excited about books, everyone's talking about books. So Book Harvest partnered with over 100 21st century community learning centers in North Carolina last year to execute our Books on Break program, which is where students get to select 10 books of their choosing to take home and keep with them forever. And after our program, we survey families to hear about what happens when children arrive home with their new books, to have a glimpse into their journey of book ownership, because we can't be in every home, and see those smiling faces coming in the door with their new books. So I pulled a couple quotes for you, but one of them says, both my children were excited to get home and flip through each book and show me what they were about. They lined them up to start their own library. It was very heartwarming. Another parent said he was so excited. We read 2 books as soon as he came home, and he was tuned into reading immediately, and it lasted for weeks. And finally, this one makes me laugh every time. I didn't even know my kid liked to read, somebody wrote as a response. So I really could sit here all day and read hundreds of similar reports to you. But what we also heard from caregivers was that they wanted additional support to keep that excitement going. So giving support to families is so important, and we all have such opportunity to do this during the summer through our programs, but really showing parents how to continue to connect over books, encouraging those multiple readings of the same book, that's a good thing. A lot of parents might get tired of hearing the same book or reading the same book to their child, but the importance of that in building that excitement and encouragement over reading is really important. Other parents said guidance on how to read and talk about books with their kids. That doesn't come naturally to some people. It might to everybody on this call as we're in education. But for parents at home, really having that conversation with them about this is how you sit down and read with your child. And then also helping kids to select just right books. Parents kind of get concerned about, oh, they can't read this one yet, or this is a little bit above what they can handle, but really showing parents that kid choice makes a huge difference in motivation. And sometimes what just right means might mean an older sibling reads with them or the caregiver reads with them, and really what that looks like and encouragement that that's okay. And then again, exposure to new and diverse literature and genres. You know, parents might remember the ones that they have read growing up or see some things on the bookshelf as they're walking through a store, but really encouraging them, knowing their child as a student and saying, this is what they're really into. Here's a great set of books that I've really noticed that this kid is really into, and really connecting those parents to what that looks like. And then lastly, parents also asked for tips on how to extend engagement past the pages of books. Like, we finished reading it, what are some other ideas that we can do? So what does a book talk look like around your kitchen table? What do paired activities look like? Things that we do kind of in school as learning, but what are some fun ways to do that at home too? And lastly, building those reading routines, as we all know, really makes a huge impact. And sitting down and reading right before bed doesn't work for every family. So encouraging families to have books in their car or in their bag as they're heading to the store. And really, how do we build that into kind of our natural family being? And so at Book Harvest, we really talk about these 3 things that work really well together. So access, that ownership and choice, and then family support, and really how those 3 things really can come together to build those sustained reading habits, which is what we want for kids to really be lifelong learners and readers.
Absolutely. Beautiful, Megan. Thank you. And Kelly, I feel like you and First Book really are the innovation in summer literacy as an organization. Can you tell us more about First Book and how you work to contribute to book choice in summer programs?
Sure. Hi, everyone, and thanks for having me and First Book. So First Book is a social enterprise, and our mission is educational equity. So basically, like so many of you have been saying today, if kids can love reading, they can love learning. That's where we're going. So we support the largest network of adults in the lives of kids in need in the country. So we're over 600,000 members. We call them educators. We use that term broadly. It's by no means not just classroom teachers, but it's librarians and nonprofit program leaders and after school programs, early childhood, faith-based, all different kinds of, educators, adults in the lives of kids in need. And we really exist to support everything that these educators do, including summer learning. Along with providing the best books at the best prices, as well as a lot of free resources like worksheets and lesson plans that can help, your programming, we are always listening to our network. Because we know that the better we understand what you all need, the better we can work to provide it. And so what we hear from educators is they value the books that we select on our marketplace because not only are they 50 to 90% off retail prices, and just a couple of examples, the latest Diary of a Wimpy Kid retails for $16. I just saw Amazon has it for $7. We have it for $4. Jabari Tries lists at 18. Amazon has it for $9. We have a special paperback edition on our site for $2.50. So just to give you some examples of the discounts. But these books are cheap, but they're also brand new. They're current and they're high interest. And like we've been hearing, right? Like if you want to read about sharks, go forth, read about sharks, like Ileana said, right? We carefully curate these books because both the research and our actual educators in our network tell us that kids get excited about reading when they have books that are interesting, as well as books that are representative of their cultures and their languages and their storylines. I think we've all heard the metaphor about mirrors, windows, and sliding glass doors. And just to give you a little bit of data, because I know we were just talking about data on the last panel, we actually did a study in 2022 about what happens when educators include diverse books in their classroom libraries. And note that about 75% of the educators in the study report that they serve predominantly children of color, yet unfortunately, their classroom libraries only had about 28% of their classroom libraries that featured characters of color. So when these added diverse books into those libraries, students' reading scores increased, especially those that were the most behind, that were struggling. Over the course of the study, increased by 4 hours a week. And 70% of educators that we more often choose books that feature characters that look like them. And so that's So in terms of summer reading, anecdotally, educators are using our books to send home with students over the summer. So are using our books for, I'm looking at Liz, for summer program giveaways, book announced a national partnership with Little Free Library. I had the opportunity librarians at the Public Library Association conference a couple weeks ago, and it was that there's a library in Minnesota that because of, they were noticing that there were a lot of patrons that were nervous, and so they are beginning an outreach program to go out into those communities. They're excited about using books from First Book because we have the languages that these communities speak, so they're going to use those books to reach out to those folks in the community. We also know that after school and camp programs are using our books. So one example is Break Free Education, which is nationwide. They're using our books to expand book clubs in juvenile justice schools this summer, as well as piloting a new student family book club. And the Boys and Girls Club of Rosebud City, South Dakota, is stocking their club libraries in clubs across the Rosebud Reservation. So just some examples of how we know folks are using the exciting, high interest and diverse books that we offer.
Thank you so much, Kelly, Megan, and Ileana. We really appreciate your time and wisdom today. And keep reading, everybody, and join us at the Library and Literacy PLC for more good work on bringing books to kids.
Thank you so much, Liz, my friend. Without question, I appreciate you. Congratulations again, Brother Pablo and Miguel. I appreciate y'all. Without question. I try to teach my grandson a little bit of Spanish every day. We actually have times where we just talk in Spanish, which is like awesome. So it's wonderful to see that representation on this call without question. Thank you, Megan, Ileana, and Kelly, and special shout out to San Francisco Public Library. Ileana, come on. You guys rolled out the red carpet, and I appreciate your hospitality. So I was able to see all that goodness. And you have not lived until you walk through Golden Gate Park and see the mobile library right there in the strip, along with all the beautiful flowers. So thank you for all that you do.